So next up is Mike Barrett, who is the founder and Chief Strategy Officer of Supernatural, and he'll talk about how AI is poised to transform the way that creative is planned and delivered. So welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Bummer about that headshot. I kind of look like Donkey from Shrek. First of all, thank you to the ARF for putting this together. Advertising Research Foundation, been a pillar of the community for years, and it's really awesome to just sit here in a room full of other people who think about these types of things and to talk about it with you. So what we're going to talk about today is AI and creative effectiveness. Right now, AI is getting a ton of attention. I think there's a lot of ways to think about it. This is sort of my favorite way of thinking about it. Where are we on the Gartner hype cycle when it comes to AI? We'll try and figure out where we are as we go through this, but we're definitely on the way up right now, right? There's getting a lot. Heinz just used AI. They asked AI to draw ketchup bottles. The ketchup bottles came out looking like Heinz bottles. They made an ad about it. They win. AI advertising. Companies like Zero, a lot of companies are doing this. This is just an example from Zero. Using a combination of AI software to generate both images and copy. This is not a real picture. That's not a real human. That's an actual AI-generated image. The copies pre-optimized. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. If you want more coverage, like if you just want to go deep on this stuff, and I'll do this as we go through. Brian Bonilla just wrote a really good piece in Ad Age. It was in the September 22nd edition. He wrote a really good I think he talked to about 20 people. Really good roundup article. You can go read it, check it out, find out more about sort of what creative folks are doing with AI right now. AI is already useful to creatives. It can create difficult to find new images. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, one of your clients is in the cannabis business and they're in the cannabis payments business. You know what it's really hard to find stock imagery of? Weed and money in the same photograph, okay? That is 2-3 hours of an art director's time photoshopping weed in with the money or putting the money in with the weed. You can generate it in AI in like 3 seconds. You can generate all sorts of imagery with this. Check out Stable Diffusion. Check out DALL-E. DALL-E 3 just came out. Midjourney is another great one. Image to prompt. Just Google text to image AI generator and go crazy. You can make stuff like this. You can make a self-portrait of Bob Ross in the style of Bob Ross. You can have Vincent van Gogh paint you a landscape. You can have a portrait of a child in the style of Adolphe Willem-Bouguereau. You can make photorealistic, like these are photorealistic images. They're really good. We use these, we just embed them in presentations now instead of using stock because you can be so much more specific about the types of imagery you use. That lighthouse is AI generated. That glass of beer is AI generated. There are no, as far as I'm aware, and I would know, there are no chicken nuggets this large to be found in the natural world. If I could go out there and find them, I would find them, but they exist only in AI. AI can write copy. This is one of my favorite things to do. So this is a little AI engine. There are a million of these. This is one of the ones we use. I just gave this the prompt, artificial intelligence and advertising. And this gave us 4. You can do 8. You can do 6. This is, with artificial intelligence, brands can automatically target consumers with ads based on their profiles, interest, and preference. It's like a personalized ad that speaks to each person's needs and wants. Imagine the possibilities. You can tell a machine wrote that because that's not something a human would be super fired up about. On the other hand, it is good. And what this type of stuff is good for is getting writers off the schneid, just getting them started. You have to write about artificial intelligence and advertising. We literally have a drop-down menu. You can write a song about it. You can write a blog post about it. You can write email about it. And it pops out like this. Services that'll do this, you want to check out Writer. Check out Jasper's a really big one. WordTune's another one. It's an awesome little browser extension. You can stick it in your browser, and it'll help you rewrite things like as you go. It's really amazing, the power of these things. AI can even make videos. This is a video that I made. I made this last week. Rose, I apologize. This is gonna be a little creepy. It's gonna be a little creepy, Rose, but here we go. No sound.
Text. Once we start to link different AI together, things really get interesting. This video was created by an AI, using a script written by another AI, and edited by a third AI. So we have image generation, animation, editing, text-to-speech, copywriting, and copy editing happening sequentially, but seamlessly. So what does this have to do with creative effectiveness? I'll turn it back over to Mike to answer.
Is this good? No. It was impossible 3 months ago. It cost $30. It took 30 minutes. Who knows how good it'll be at this point next year? What does all of this have to do with creative effectiveness? There are some really simple answers, right? That copy engine I was talking about earlier, site copy comes out SEO optimized. It's just done. Why wouldn't it be? CRM copy, already optimized to avoid spam filters. You have general copywriting. It's written in frameworks. You can choose the frameworks. It's written in frameworks that are proven. They've been proven to work for generations. Every writer who's ever worked in this business knows about attention, interest, desire, action. These are copywriting frameworks that we know work. And I say this with love, that are really hard to get creative people to write in. But if they start with something that's in that framework and then they tweak it, they're off to a really good start. Imagery is limited only by your imagination. This is another, really big advantage of AI. But this is just the beginning, right? It's cool, it's useful, but it's not the whole story. So back to our old friend, the Gartner hype cycle. We're kind of here. We're in the, oh my God, it can make ketchup bottles and sort of awkward videos and write stuff stage. And we're headed up to this peak of inflated expectations. Those of you who are old enough like I am to remember how we did this in the first .com boom. Like, oh my God, the internet, it's amazing, it's gonna do all these things. And AI is going to be it's gonna be as transformative as the internet was. It's gonna be amazing, it's gonna do all these things, it's incredible. Society is gonna become decentralized and we're gonna live in a technology utopia, and then, oh my God, the stock market crashes and this is a nightmare, and we're just using it to send pictures of cats to one another. And this whole internet was just a fad anyway. It's like totally, I knew I didn't have to figure out how to use the internet to do my job. And then companies like, Google and Amazon and Netflix went to streaming. They went up this slope of enlightenment. People started making it useful, and then you're in the plateau of productivity, which it's Gartner's point of view that that's where we're living right now. I'm not sure I agree, but that's what they call it. We're going with it. We're still going up the hype cycle. Our view is that when AI will get interesting, and this is something Carolyn, I think, was talking about earlier, AIs, when they start working together, that's when things really get interesting. That video I showed you, that was a couple AIs working together. This is like the little portal to the people who work at our agency. They log in the morning, this is what they see. They see, do I want to see audience insights filtered through, a massive audience data stack filtered through an AI algorithm that tells me what's interesting about my audience? Do I want to see how my clients are stacking up? Who's winning, who's losing, why? Do I want that point of view? Do I want to write a song about how awesome my boss is? Because you can do that with the copywriter engine. Do I want the image generator? The script builder is a combination of a bunch of different AIs that let you write a script, tune the words, generate images from the words in the script that you've written all in one thing, and it just spits out a client-friendly script. It saves us a ton of time. The strategy engine, this is actually back to what Carolyn was talking about. We were talking about, she was talking about it gets interesting when strategy and creative are welded together. When you have something where you can just algorithmically build in what we know works about advertising and then spits out strategy options for you to consider, that's when creative gets really good. So, when reams of audience data that pass through an algorithm that surfaces the most interesting bits from strategy, you move from supposition to insights. And you get really, 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 really good, really effective creative work. I'm going to show you, this is an ad for Kayak. I want you to go back to this time last year. We are in denier culture. JFK Jr. is going to reemerge in Daley Plaza and restore Trump to the presidency. There's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories floating around, and the whole country seemed to have just sort of lost its connection to reality, right? What we found was that there was an audience that was open to engaging this, and we made this.
Here we go.
Remember, Mom is a kayak denier, so please don't bring it up.
Bring what up? Kayak?
Excuse me? Do the research, Todd.
Listen to me. Kayak searches hundreds of travel sites to find you great deals on flights, cars, and hotels.
They're lying to you.
Who's they? Kayak?
Open your eyes.
Compare hundreds of travel sites at once. Kayak. Search one and done.
Okay, but like, it all came from the audience insight. 200 million views on YouTube organically, this and its companion piece. $15 CPM, I keep telling our clients, I'm like, come on, you gotta give us some. This came out of the strategy engine that we were talking about earlier. When you're working together and you're working in a piece of software that has what is known about what makes advertising work, the Cannes Creative Effectiveness Ladder, everything that, Les Binet and Peter Field have done, like all of that academic research is baked into the algorithm that you work through. You come up, it's funny, you come up with different options. None of the options are like, oh my God, I wish I'd thought of that. But what it is it makes sense and it never forgets. It never forgets to consider a competitive strategy. It never forgets to consider an endorsement strategy. And in this case, you have a coffee brand that is launching a cold brew drink into a category that is not exactly crying out for new competitors, and which is heavily, heavily contested. And we find an audience with an incredibly dark sense of humor and the need to drive a mnemonic strategy. The name of this company is Wandering Bear. See if you can figure out what the mnemonic is.
I feel like my sister resents me for my happiness.
Well, you should tell her how you feel. Or, eat her alive. Wandering Bear. Big, strong cold brew that's surprisingly smooth.
Super weird short form video. We made 1 million of these. They just worked. They hit the audience and they worked on the mnemonic front. And none of these were things that would have been possible without the AI. You can also supplement the econometric modeling that we all do with ML work. So, machine learning is moving really, really quickly right now. There are machine learning models you can just grab off the shelf and start training, and to start figure out, okay, what is the contribution of the different brand metrics to the KPIs that my clients care about? It's when you start stitching all of this stuff together that things are going to get really interesting. At its core, if I leave you with nothing else, it's just a set of tools, right? We're still the ones who have to wield them. AI is going to change everything, but it's not going to do anything. Like, we're the ones who are going to do it. I say this all the time to the people who work at the agency and to our clients, like, these things work for us. We don't work for them. How well we wield them is going to determine the effectiveness of their overall impact. This is happening in other fields. Not surprisingly, STEM fields are way ahead of the advertising industry. This is an article that was published in the journal Nature, I want to say in the last 6 months. HITL stands for Human in the Loop. Human in the Loop radiology teams. This is an AI radiologist and a human radiologist working together. Outperformed by 10%, either AI only or human only radiologists on doing things like diagnosing pneumonia, diagnosing a whole bunch of other conditions that radiologists need to do. DeepMind, this one is from last week, the week before last, the MIT Technology Review. The new chatbot, everybody here who's had the experience of having like a really unsatisfying experience with a customer service chatbot, there's a whole new wave of these chatbots coming that are human AI combinations, where Google searches, filtered through a human filter, hit the AI, and make suggestions. They give the human prompts to feed back out to the actual person they're dealing with. Huge, huge improvement in effectiveness from 76% to 92%, as rated by the people on the receiving end, the actual people. 2 things in closing, and I know I'm out of time. 1, if you want to find out more about this, if this presentation gets linked, this is a clickable link. This is one of those really long-form New York Times Magazine articles. It's just great. It's like 8 pages of it. We need to talk about how good AI is getting. Awesome overview of where the field is right now. Just super good. And then the second thing I don't think is going to work, but you should definitely Google this. This is an AI where they animated the heads of pharaohs from their statues in Egypt. It is absolutely mesmerizing. So that is it. Thank you.